Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Kashif Kamran and I welcome you all to a very important session. The name of the session is AAA Tips for March 2021. Now, this is indeed an important session because it is taking place just 10 days before the actual exam takes place on the 1st of March. And this 10 days are very crucial for all the students who are appearing for the AAA exams in March 2021. Now, probably by this time around, you must have completed your studies and you are doing the revision, or more importantly, you must be towards the completion of your studies for the upcoming exams in March 2021. I believe all of you must have listened and watch my recent webinar, which I did for ACCA Pakistan, because that is a real good revision for all of you ahead of the March 2021 exams. Now, my purpose today is just to focus on the tips, to share with you the tips for March 2021 exams, and I will not be taking much time on it. I'll just be spending a quick 40 to 45 minutes in wrapping up the tips for March 2021, so you can then concentrate on these tips over the next 10 days. So let's start the journey for AAA Tips March 2021. Now I have prepared a Word document which I will be using for tips, and I'll be sharing this Word document on the WhatsApp group on which you got the invitation for this session. Now, right in front of your screen, you can see a Word file which says AAA Exam Tips for March 2021, right? I hope you can all see that in front of you. Now, this particular Word file will be shared with all of you, and you will get this Word file on the WhatsApp group, so nothing to worry about, nothing to copy from it. You can just take screenshots if you want to, but I hope you can all see this Word file in front of your screen. Can you all see it? Can you just confirm that? Okay, that's great. Okay, now look at the tips. First of all, I started with journal tips, and the journal tips are given in the very first bracket here, the first 4 bullets, which is something very, very important. Now, in terms of the journal tips, uh, you need to practice all 6 recent papers. All 6 recent papers. Now that's very important. I've been emphasizing on that in my recent webinars for March 2021, that when you're preparing yourself for the March 21 exams, it is very, very important that you focus from September 18 question paper and you end your preparation at December 20 question paper, which is uploaded on the ACCA website. 6 recent past papers. You need to ask a question to yourself: how much time have you devoted to 6 recent papers? The more, the better. Now you still have 10 days. You can still spend time on the 6 recent papers, because the 6 recent papers are very, very important. Solve them, write the answers, reconcile your answers with examiner reports, as I was guiding you in the webinar. I hope you got that you got the terminology of a self-appraisal from my webinar. Every day in my webinar, I used to guide you on a self-appraisal of your answer. So you need to do a self-appraisal when you write in the answer. You need to reconcile your answer with the examiner marking scheme. You need to reconcile your answers with examiner reports to see where you went wrong. Now, 6 recent papers practice, that's the first phenomena. So you need to do the practice. Read 4 examiner reports for September 18, December 18, March 20, and December 20. Only 4 examiner reports, right? Not 6, only 4. Which one? September 18, December 18, March 20, and December 20, the last one. When you read these 4 examiner reports, they will give you constructive criticism on different areas of the syllabus. They will give you constructive criticism on procedures, on evidence, on reporting, on risk, on business risk, on audit risk. And this will be an eye opener for you, because this criticism will help you learn what you should not be doing. So reading the examiner reports has been my very focal point. I've been repeating that in my webinars recently, that students should make a habit of reading the examiner reports. So 4 examiner reports needs to be read. Now, you should use these tips as a checklist. You should ask a question on every bullet. Have you done it? Have you not? So this tips will become a checklist for you, and every student needs to put a tick mark. Yes, no, yes, no. So you know how much you need to do in the next 10 days. Next thing, read all 5 exam technique articles, part 1 to part 5. I've been emphasizing on them in my webinars that you need to read the 5 technique articles. I'm not saying the technical articles, I'm saying the techniques article, exam technique articles. I hope you must have seen those exam techniques article on the ACCA website. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. There are 5 parts to it. Now, each of the part gives you techniques on risk, on accounting issues, on audit procedures, on reporting, so on ethics. So these are wonderful articles, the technique article, the first 5 articles on the ACCA website for AAA, 5 exam techniques article. Then the last thing, watch my 3 recent webinars, 3 recent webinars. If you want to prepare good, March 21 webinar, which I just did, the March 20 webinar, and the December 19 webinar. So I recommend these 3 webinars to be watched. If you have watched them, that's good. That's very good. So these are journal tips, right? Practice the 6 recent papers, read 4 examiner reports, read all 5 exam techniques article, and watch my 3 recent webinars, March 21, March 20, and December 19. Now, this is the first phenomena. Now, the second phenomena is understand the core structure of AAA paper. Now, you all know that this is the core structure of the AAA paper. You cannot deny that. Look at these bullets. I hope you all agree this is the core structure of the AAA paper. Risk assessment is an integral part of the paper. Risk assessment is an integral part of the paper. Procedures are integral part of the paper. Ethical, professional, and quality control issues is an integral part of the paper. Practice management is an integral part of the paper. Audit evidence, audit report, and other assignments. This is the core AAA paper, right? Every topic coming in front of the screen is a very, very important topic. You cannot say, I will not be preparing it. I will not, I will be skipping it. You cannot skip any of these topics. This is your 100 marks paper. These are the core areas. You cannot have a probability on these areas. You cannot ask your tutor what will come and what will not come. This is the core syllabus. So you cannot impair the quality of your preparation on the core structure of the AAA paper. I hope you all agree with me. This is the core structure of the AAA paper you're looking for in front of your screen. Now, just to give you a relevance, you go down and you read this paragraph I've written in my tips. It says all the above areas are the core areas of the AAA paper, and in each exam sitting, it contributes to the 100 marks paper. The topic risk, the topic risk, the topic reporting, and the topic procedures are like static topics of the 100 marks paper. Have you ever seen an exam sitting without a risk question? Never. Have you ever seen a exam sitting without a reporting question? Never. Have you ever seen an exam sitting without a question on procedures? Never. These are static topics of a 100 marks paper. So how can you compromise your practice? How can you compromise your preparation on these topics? Now, whereas the topic of ethical issues or professional issues or quality control issues is a regular feature of exam paper. When I say it's a regular feature and when I say it's a static topic, there is a big difference, right? Some topics are static. Some topics are regular feature. Regular feature means that if you look at the 5 exam sittings, you will find them in 4 or you will find them in 3. So ethical, professional, and quality control issues has been a topic which has been a regular feature of exam papers. Audit evidence is an important area, and in the last 6 sittings was examined twice. So audit evidence was examined twice in the last 6 exam sittings. So it is not like every exam sitting, but yes, in last 6 exam sittings, it have come twice. And we know evidence is an important area. You cannot get into the exam hall without knowing what audit evidence is. So it's an important area, right? But it's not a static topic. The next one, practice management. Practice management is also an important syllabus area, and in the recent exam settings have been in the examiner mindset. This is very, very important. If you look at the recent exam papers, it has been in the examiner mindsets, and that's very dangerous. If something is in the examiner mindset, which means it can come on a very regular basis, and it has been tested a couple of times in the last 6 exam settings. So you cannot just be underprepared on practice management syllabus area C. Other assignments have always been an important syllabus area which is regularly examined, not in each exam sitting, but very often. So do other assignment comes in every exam sitting? No, not in every exam sitting, but very often. Now, when you look at the past papers, uh, you look at the last 10 exam sittings. In the last 10 exam sittings, it has been tested 6 times. So that's quite a good ratio. That's quite a good probability of other assignments. So I hope you all agree that the topics like other assignments, audit report, procedures, ethical professional quality control issues, practice management, the topics like risk, can you ignore them? This is the must part of the 100 marks paper. This is a core part of the 100 marks paper. I hope you have been able to understand this. So by now, when 10 days are remaining, you all know these are core areas, right? You all know these are important areas of the syllabus. I hope you have practiced plenty on these core areas of the syllabus. Am I right? Are you practicing rigorously on these core areas, everyone? Okay, moving on. Accounting standards. You know, accounting standards plays a crucial part of your success in the AAA paper, and it has been recommended so many times that the student should do the SBR paper first, then do the AAA paper. If you do a bad combination and you say, "Oh, I'll do the AAA paper first and I'll do the SBR paper later," you're doing a biggest blunder. You should have a good SBR knowledge to support your AAA paper. And the ideal mechanism is do the SBR paper first and do the AAA paper after, or do them together. Now, there are a lot of accounting standards which are very repetitive. You must have seen the past papers. There are so many accounting standards which are repetitive, and they come a lot in the AAA paper, and in the recent settings too, in the last 6 attempts of the AAA paper. Examiner has focused a lot on IAS 8, the changes in accounting policies and the changes in accounting estimates. IAS 16, the property, plant, and equipment. IAS 20, the government grant. IAS 21, the foreign currency translation and transactions. IAS 23, the borrowing cost. IAS 24, the related party transaction. IAS 36, the impairment. IAS 37, the provisions and contingencies. IAS 38, the most favorite of the examiner, the intangible assets. The IFRS 2, the share-based payment, comes a lot of time. IFRS 5 comes a lot of time in the recent papers. IFRS 8 has started to come a lot of time in the recent papers of the AAA. IFRS 15, I think this is the most favorite standard of examiner, revenue recognition, and IFRS 16. So these are most repetitive. You need to ask yourself a question, how good you are on these standards. Then in a scenario involving group audits, you must have seen a lot of question number 1, which starts with a group audit scenario. Uh, in a group audit scenario, you will be getting the typical standards, but in a group audit scenario, the examiner might involve the standards which relates to the group. For example, the examiner might test your knowledge on IAS 28, how you account for an associate, or the examiner might test your knowledge on IFRS 3, how you account for a goodwill, or the examiner might test your knowledge on IFRS 10, that is uh, how you eliminate the intercompany balances at the time of consolidation. Or the examiner might test your knowledge on IFRS 11, the joint venture, how you account for or how you recognize a joint venture. So particularly the accounting treatment of goodwill, particularly the accounting treatment of the intercompany transactions and balances, particularly the accounting treatment of how you account for an associate using an equity method, and how you account for a joint venture using an equity method is something where you should be very good at. So this is the more powerful bunch of accounting standards in front of your screen, where you should be very, very strong at. I hope that's clear to all of you, right? If you can drop a reply in the chat box. So moving away from the accounting standards now and coming to the main topic, specific areas and tips. Let's start with that. Specific areas and tips. Audit risk or risk of material misstatement looks very important for your March 2021 exams, not business risk. But please remember, these are tips. You cannot take tips like something of a guarantee. You go to the exam hall March 21 and you get a question on business risk. You cannot blame the tutor because these are tips. You should prepare your 100% syllabus. But in the last 10 days, these are just tips. So to me, audit risk or a risk of material misstatement looks potential for March 2021 exams, not the business risk. So a question involving audit risk or a risk of material misstatement with analytical procedures or without analytical procedures. Both are important. So you might get a question with AP. My first preference is with AP, and my second preference is without AP. So on the recommendation that audit risk and risk of material misstatement with AP and without AP are important, so I'm recommending some questions to you. You should practice the June 17 question number 1. You should practice September 18 question number 1. You should practice March 20 question number 1. You should practice the December 2020 question number 1 and the June 18 question number 1, right? So these are recommendable questions. You will be getting this Word file, right? Don't worry about it, in the WhatsApp group from where you have joined the live session. So you need to practice the June 17 question 1, the September 18 question 1, the March 20 question 1, the December 20 question 1, the June 18 question number 1. These are important questions around audit risk and risk of material misstatement. You need to read the exam technique article, part 2 on risk, and you need to watch my AAA March 20 webinar day 1. So this is how you can revise your audit risk and risk of material misstatement. So this is important. I've given you the practice questions, I've given you what article to read, and I've given you my March 21 webinar hyperlink so you can watch it. So audit risk or a risk of material misstatement looks potential for March 2021 exams. Okay, moving forward, other assignments. Is other assignments important? For March 2021 exams, I believe 3 other assignments. The one I've covered in my March 21 webinar. Audit of performance information, due diligence, and forensic holds the key. Examiner might ask one of the 3, either the audit of performance information, either the due diligence, either the forensic. And I've covered the 3 in my recent webinar. Review of prospective financial information, I'm not holding it as a key, but again, these are tips. So you need to practice questions from December 2015 exams, question number 2B, June 17 question number 3B for performance information. You need to practice the question number 2 from the December 13 exams and the question number 3 from the December 17 exams for due diligence. And you need to practice the question number 3 from December 19 exams for forensic, along with the June 13 question number 2B. So I've given you the recommendable questions in the bullet number 2. I hope you can all see that. For preparing yourself for other assignments, do read the following articles. So you need to read the following articles given here for other assignments. There are 2 articles on other assignments. I've given you the hyperlink. Please download these articles and read them. And you should watch my AAA March 20 webinar, because on the day 4 and on the day 5, the hyperlinks have been given. I have conducted the topic other assignments and purposely conducted this topic because it was important for the March 2021 exams. So this is the tips on other assignments. Now moving towards the tips on other areas. Group audit article. You must have seen a group audit article was published before the December 2020 exams, not before the March 2021 exams, right? It was published before the December 2020 exams. I hope you must have read this article because it's one of the recent articles. It was published before the December 2020 exams. So it's an article which you cannot ignore. And I believe that considering the group audit article was published before the December 2020 exams can be important in terms of knowledge, because this article was all about knowledge in terms of how does a group auditor uses the work of a component auditor, or what is a significant component, or how does the group auditor lies with component auditor. So I believe this area is important from the article. So The question number 1B1 and 1B2 from the June 18 exams should be looked into carefully. So if you want to prepare yourself for the knowledge of the group audit, then the question number 1B1 and 1B2 from the June 18 exams should be looked forward very carefully. The article, I've given you the hyperlink, you can download the article, and I have already put a video on group audit for this article before the December 2020 exams on my YouTube channel. So I've given you the link of the YouTube channel where you can watch the video on the group audit article, which I did for the December 2020 students, which is now even valid for you all. So group audit article is not to be missed. Then you go down to the audit report. What is likely from an audit report? I believe in terms of audit report, a critical appraisal of audit report, a question like March, June 19, question number 2A, or a scenario testing CAM, key audit matters, or a scenario testing going concern as like December 18, question number 2, looks potential. So a critical appraisal of the audit report like a March, June 19, question number 2A, a scenario testing CAM going concern like a December 18, question number 2 looks potential. However, the typical reporting question involving uncorrected misstatements like the question number 2 of the September 18 and the question number 2A of the September-December 19 exams is always examiner's favorite. Question involving communication of matters to those charged with governance, as in the March-June 19 question number 2B, should not be ignored as well. So I've given you different types of reporting questions and their importance. So this paragraph, when you read this paragraph out, you will get benefit which questions to practice and which sounds important for your upcoming exams in March 2021. Articles to read, plenty of articles to read on audit reports. So I've given you the hyperlinks. You can see the 3 bullets, read the following articles. So all the 3 articles needs to be read. And then you need to watch my AAA March 2020 webinar. On the day 3 of the recent webinar, I did reporting. So you can watch the day 3 and you can be very good on controlling your reporting area. So this is the tips on audit report. Now, evidence tips. You know there are 2 types of questions which comes on evidence, right? There's one question on evidence which asks you comment on the matters and explain the evidence you should expect to find in the working paper file, as like the question number 2A of September-December 19 exams, and as like the June 17 question number 4 sounds important. Comment on the sufficiency and appropriateness of the evidence. You must have seen this question. And recommend further procedures. Just like a March 2020 question number 2 and a December 16 question number 2. So evidence looks important because evidence has come very less in the last few exam settings. So evidence can make a comeback. You cannot underestimate evidence. Any type of question on evidence is likely. Watch my previous webinars on evidence. I've covered rigorously the area of evidence in my September 19 webinar. I've given you the hyperlink of that. And I've covered the area of evidence in my June 19 webinar. So you can watch them so that you are effectively prepared on the area of evidence. You need to read an article on audit evidence, and a hyperlink of the article has been given. So this is how you will be preparing yourself on the area of audit evidence. Now coming to the practice management area. In recent exam settings, the practice management has been a focal point. This is a syllabus area C in terms of matters to consider when invited by a new audit client. You must have seen questions like such in past papers. Matters to consider when you are invited by a new client or an invitation for more services from an existing client. So it is important that you polish it up as well. December 18 question number 1D and question number 2B of the September-December 20 exams are important. So you have to practice these 2 particular exam questions for practice management. Read article on practice management. The hyperlink of the article is given here, so you can read the article. And you should watch my December 2020 webinar day 4, because on the day 4 of my December 20 webinar, I purposely did practice management. So if you want to take a theoretical or a tutor lecture on practice management, then the tutor lecture hyperlink is given day 4 of the December 2020 webinar. Okay, now towards the last few areas, knowledge areas. Topics like auditor liability, topics like money laundering as came in December 18 question number 3, topics like professional skepticism, topics like opening balances, topics like auditor responsibility for non-compliance with laws and regulations, auditing disclosures in financial statement can't be ruled out. So these are important knowledge areas. They cannot be ruled out. I did a session on YouTube on auditing disclosures, which was an article of the Examiner. So if you want to watch my YouTube video on auditing disclosure, you can watch it. The hyperlink has been given, so you can use this hyperlink for reaching the destination. So some knowledge areas are important for the upcoming exams, because in all the recent papers, Examiner is asking 5 to 6 marks of knowledge. Just like data analytics came the last time, or joint audit came in the previous exam settings, or the corporate governance and the role of audit committee. These have all come in the last 3 exam settings. So on that track, you can expect knowledge to come in March 2021 as well. So these are potential areas for knowledge. And then the more important thing, ignored areas, expect the unexpected. These are areas which examiner is ignoring, or these are areas which students are ignoring. And since very long, we have not seen questions on these areas. This is the syllabus of AAA, ignored areas by the examiner. Expect the unexpected. In the March 2021 exams, you can get a question which used to come way back. Advertisement. Advertisement is an ignored area in recent years, but but could make a comeback. And there is only one question on advertisement, which is the question number 4A of the December 15 exams. But expect the unexpected. Contents of the proposal document. This is a neglected area by the examiner. The last time it was examined was in December 14, question number 4. So you have to go way back. Auditor liability is a neglected area, and there is already an article on auditor liability. And the last time auditor liability was examined was in June 13, question number 4A. Opening balances is a neglected area. The last time it was examined was in June 11, question number 3, part B. And professional skepticism is a neglected area. The last time it was examined was in December 16, question number 4A. Expect the unexpected. You cannot go into the exam hall without having knowledge of advertisement, proposal document, liabilities, opening balances, and professional skepticism. I'll be sharing these old past papers with you on the WhatsApp group, which I'm recommending, like 2015, 2014, 2013, 2011, and 2016. Don't worry about it. So these are expect the unexpected areas for March 2021. And then there are so many articles to read on the knowledge areas. You can see all the articles here on the knowledge areas which I have recommended. So the hyperlinks have been given. So these are articles to read on the knowledge area, right? So I've covered different tips. I've covered the tips on risk, which type of risk can come. I've covered the tips on other assignments, which type of other assignments can come. I've covered the tips on evidence. I've covered the tips on reporting. I've covered the tips on ignored areas, expect the unexpected. I've covered the tips on practice management, which has been a focal point of examiner in recent history. And this is it. Now, there are some core areas, right? I cannot give you tips on core areas like procedures. That's the core area. Ethical, professional, and quality control issue. That's the core area. You know, this has been a regular feature of exam papers. So I've already emphasized on that in the beginning of my session that some areas are core areas. But yes, you can ask a question, which type of risk will come this time? That's good. Or which type of other assignment will come this time? That's good. So I've tried to cover that aspect which the student frequently asked from a tutor. Now, these are the tips. You will get this Word file in the WhatsApp group. You can just take a printout of it and sit down and start to make a tick box. Have I covered this? Tick. 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 This is what you can do in the last 10 days, right? But again, remember, these are tips. This is not a guarantee. Tips means probability. And I'm not the examiner, right? This is a disclaimer. This is a disclaimer. I'm not the examiner. But every time we probabilize, and I try to release these probabilities very close to exam so that the student gets the chance to complete the syllabus. If I release the probabilities 1 month before, then I believe students will ignore the syllabus and will focus on the probabilities. But I want you to complete the syllabus and then ensure that you focus on the probable areas in the last 10 days before your exams. So I hope these tips will help you. And you can reach me on my YouTube channel. You can reach me on my Facebook page. You can email me at my email ID, and you can WhatsApp me at my number. So these are different options through which you can reach me. I'll be sharing the recording of this session with you on my YouTube channel and then update you in the WhatsApp group. And I'll be sharing the old past papers which I've recommended to you in the WhatsApp group, and this particular Word file which was about the AAA exam tips for March 2021. So I hope this will help you in the last 10 days. Important 10 days for all of you. You must sit down and start a revision, because that revision is very, very important. Every day from now counts, and every hour from now counts. So the more you practice, the better you are. The more you do the book reading, the bad you are. My rule of thumb for AAA is that practice more. Practice makes you perfect, not the book reading. So believe me or not, you will pass the AAA paper just by a rigorous practice of the past papers and the recent papers, just by reading the examiner reports, and just by reading the exam techniques article. The more time you spend in this particular area, the better you are for your March 2021 exams. So I wish you all a very best of luck for your upcoming exams in March 2021. I'll release my tips on my Facebook page as well. So you can see this document on my Facebook page shortly. You will see this document on the WhatsApp group shortly, and you will see this on the YouTube page as well, where it will be in a video session. So the tips will be released in the next 6 hours all across the social media platforms. So you will have access to that. And you need to prepare it in an effective manner. So I hope you already enjoyed my webinars, the recent webinars I did for March 21. You must have watched all the 5 days, because that's very important. And I hope you're preparing yourself in an effective manner in over the days left now, right? So I wish you all success. AAA is not a difficult paper. AAA is a challenging paper. And how can you overcome challenge? You can overcome challenge by practice of the recent paper. The more you practice, you are better equipped to pass the AAA paper. The less you practice, you are increasing your risk of failure in the AAA paper. So the better rule of thumb, please practice. And please ensure that don't get distracted with loads and loads of information at times you get on the WhatsApp group, and the student keeps posting materials from different institutes and different tutors or different platforms, and that becomes a load of knowledge, and the load of knowledge normally distracts you from the core part of the AAA paper, which is practice. So that is it. I wish you all success. Thank you for joining the live session at a very short notice, because I thought it's good that when I'm releasing the tips, some of my students can be part of the live session and enjoy the live session to hear the AAA exam tips for March 2021. I hope you had a productive session and you had a good interaction with your tutor after the March 2021 webinars. And that is it. Take care of yourself, study effectively, and the tips will be posted on all the social media platforms shortly. Till then, have a nice day. Take care. Goodbye.